Hi guys, and welcome to my first review for 2026. And this review, I should have done it at the end of the last year, but with so much to do, and I just didn't have the time. So first of all, my apologies for not having done it. Anyway, this what is this review? This review is my favorite single DDs under $100. And I actually should have divided this into two categories. I should have divided under $100 and then under $30 to kind of fit in the real budget stuff. But I've just decided to put all of them together. So please forgive me. That's one issue, one thing that I want to bring to your attention. The second thing is that some of the IMs that I've chosen are IMs that are slightly above the $100 price bracket, but you can usually find them at just under the $100 price point. So I will ask as well your forgiveness, let's put it that way, for not having exactly been spot on. But the reason why I prefer to include these specific IMs in this group under $100, it's because I found that some of them made more sense at this price point than necessarily at the price point where they were included in the up to $200 price bracket. And I guess at the end of the day, this should have been maybe something that I thought I should have thought out a little bit better and maybe divided up things into more categories. But anyway, it is what it is. So let me get things started. What I will do after talking about the IMs is kind of choose my best ones, my favorite ones out of that top selection, or let's say out of those favorite IMs that I listen to, try and select those ones which are really the ones that make the most sense. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started off here with the cheapest stuff first. I think that would be a nice way to go about it. And I've got what? I've got this. I've got this. I've got this here. Okay, what do I have here then for you guys? Well, these are IMs that actually are priced under $20. And you're gonna ask me, I know, oh, but Tony, why don't you have the 1 year two there, this group? Why don't you have the 7 hertz, the 0 2 as well included? I mean, look, the 1 year 2 is a phenomenal IM. I have to say, yes, it is a very good IM. But I try to kind of select those IMs that I guess I was just not expecting that level of performance, especially being from to a certain extent brands which are, I was forgetting this one, yeah, from brands that are not usually, let's say, that I wouldn't know. I'm not trying to find the right word, but brands which usually at that price point of under $20, they don't bring out something really spectacular. Fair enough. There are a number of other IEMs as well from KZ that I could have included in this group. The EDC Pro, the EDX in its latest iteration as well. But I decided to actually put. Let me get it here. Which the one that I think is the one that actually makes the most sense, and especially because now you can get it at under $20, which is the Saga, to be honest. Okay, so these are those, let's say, under $20 IEMs that I think stood out for me. The first one is the CVJ, the Vivian. It was released now more towards the end of the year. I'm not sure exactly what driver it has inside here, if it's a driver which is in any way similar to the Neko or not. But what I can say is, with the stock tips, I wasn't overly impressed, although I was surprised by how good the bass is, even though it is quite emphasized. But with these these BGVP wide bores, focus, doesn't want to focus. Well, I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. But anyway, with these BGVP wide bores, the Vivian is really impressive. It impressed me more than what the likes of the 1 year impressed me, because I knew the 1 year was going to play good. The 1 year is a safe IM, let's put it that way. It brings us a safe tuning, a grown-up tuning in this lower segment, which you know is hard to get. So I knew that 1 year was going to be good, but I was, like I say, looking for things which really stood out and really surprised me. CVJ Vivian, I've got a little bit of a more in-depth review coming for it, but this is definitely one of the ones that impressed me. So that's one. The other one here is the HC Sound, the Snow White, another IEM which had, to a certain extent, big shoes to fill, because I mean you got the HC Sound, the Heart Mirror, you know, as kind of like the reference IEM, and you know, those that have been around for a while know how good the Heart Mirror is. It was an IEM that basically dethroned the Tin Hi-Fi T2, which for the longest period of time was like the reference of that style of neutral, neutral tuning. The Snow White is a complete departure from the sound of the Heart Mirror. It's nothing that can be compared. It's along the lines of like the Vivian, but again, it was another IM that truly impressed me, and I wasn't expecting something, you know, that was going to be standing out this good, especially when they had such big shoes to fill. The other one, well, there's actually two IEMs here. Is the in the audio the Venus, and then a model came out a little bit later, which was the Planet, which has a 12 millimeter driver. The Planet, let's say, has the more kind of harmony style tuning, if you want. The Venus has a tuning which is very reminiscent of the likes of something like the Venture Electronics, the Sia. Obviously, it's not a Venture Electronics Sia, but it's got that style of tuning, and both of them really impressed me. But I have to admit that for me personally, it was the Venus, the one that really, you know, captured my attention. I mean, you can get this thing for $5, which, you know, is pretty impressive. The other one is the TK-ZK TK02, which is this IEM here, which again has a more harmonish type of tuning. And really, I wasn't expecting this sort of performance. I have to be truthful, I wasn't expecting. And then finally, the one that I think will take the cake in regards to the build quality and to a certain extent as well the sound, is the KZ, the Saga, available in the bass version and the balanced version. Both of them really, you do notice that the bass version's got a little bit more bass, and I'm not going to deny it, but both of them are phenomenal. And when you take in consideration that you can pick this up for less than $20, and it's got, you know, this nice solid build quality, metal shell, it's hard to make an argument against it and say, oh no, I'm going to choose something else. It's hard, trust me, it is really hard, because this is really, really, really solid. It's got that super linear driver in it. It plays just next level. It offers very much kind of the same vibe of performance that you can get on the Zenith, although the Zenith is a more upgraded version of what was done here in the Saga. And definitely, I mean, this, you know, the problem with KZ is they've got so many IEMs, so priced so equally, and so, you know, and where the differences are so minimal, that I couldn't have all of them, because the reality is they are all very similar sounding, so they are all going to be IEMs that I liked. That's the reality. So if I had to choose just one and just bring out one, this is definitely the one at this really lower price point that I think stands out, which is the Saga. Out of the other ones here, the one that kind of stood out the most was the TK-ZK, the TK02. I think this thing is just an IEM that went very much under the radar and didn't get the deserved attention. So these two are the ones that I really think deserve kind of an extra attention to be paid to them. The Saga, I'm sure, you know, doesn't really need a lot of you know, talk made about it, but the TK-ZK definitely so. As for the rest, look, they're all kind of very similar, so there's not one really that stands out and like, oh, okay, this is the one. Okay, so I guess at this lower price point, these are the ones. And let me just clear this up and we continue. 1 second. Okay, going up ever so slightly in the price into, let's say, the $30 to $50 price point. There were also a couple of IEMs that really impressed me more so over and above other IEMs that were available. Actually, to be truthful, there were two IEMs here that I forgot about, but I'll mention them now in that more budget segment. But one especially I think is worthwhile mentioning, and I'll actually include it into this group here because I think it's really is deserving of that mention. And I'll get, well, actually, you know what? I'll get those two that I was talking about, or that I should have mentioned earlier, and I'll actually include them here. One is the Tantrum Zero, the Ultima. An update on that tuning of the Zero, which was, I would say the tuning of the Zero was kind of the fuse field, and on this one they've tried to go for a tuning which is more along the line of the remaining IEMs from Tantrum. They all have kind of a very similar vibe overall in their tuning, their IEMs as of late. Although yes, there is a noticeable or a perceivable difference between them, and that difference comes down to the shell they're using, the driver they're using. It is a DMT4 or DMT5. But anyway, the Zero Ultima is definitely one of those IEMs that in that lower end of the price point of like under $20 is definitely worthwhile. I mentioned its issue, it really is the fact that it doesn't have the detachable cable, and being a bullet style can be problematic for some. So I mean, I would say go for this one with caution, okay? But that's definitely one. Now, as for those ones that were already now in the 30s to 40s, maybe coming on close on to 30s, 40s dollars, these ones are what I've got here. What do I have? I've got here the Tripone X OBD Vivace. I've got here the CVJ, the Neko. I've got here the Leccio, the D02. I've got here the 7Hz, the G1, the Tantrum Bunny, and the Nice HCK, the Tears. To be truthful, I like them all. That's the reality. Slight differences here, obviously. Slight differences. There is a definite difference here in the type of sound. We go from a more bass-heavy presentation on the G1 or on the Neko to a more audiophile, neutralish, warm kind of presentation on the Vivace, on the Bunny, and to a certain extent on the Tears, to a very kind of diffuse field type presentation on the D02. The D02 will probably be the one that will be a little bit more niche orientated, will be the one that maybe not everybody will appreciate it. The Tears plays really well in stock format, in my opinion. I don't disagree, and I don't agree with some of the opinions that I've heard about it. What I can say is this unit, my particular unit, it sounds phenomenal. I didn't find it to be overly bright like some people have mentioned it to be. Definitely not. But then it's got a trick up its sleeve, which is that really good DSP implementation of the cable that comes with it, and I think that there is really kind of like the game-changing thing for the Tears, because you can easily fix whatever slight excess energy might exist and make this thing sound phenomenal. The Bunny, the Bunny, I would go as far as saying the Bunny is more competent than the 4U, the Tantrum 4U, and I think that is saying a lot about how good the Bunny is. Really nice sounding IM. It sounds phenomenal, clean, detailed. You just got it's got the Tantrum sound, let's put it that way. I would even go as far as saying it's got kind of vibes of a mini Origin, of a baby Origin. The G1 from 7Hz, great sounding, more thicker sounding IEM in terms of the bass, definitely, but very nicely done. Good quality driver, great build quality. The shell is phenomenal. It's almost got, it's not going to be fair 100% because obviously this has got a significant improvement when you compare one in stock format to the other, which I'm going to mention now in stock format. But comparing this, for example, to the Blonde BL03, it's not going to be a comparison which is totally out of bounds. The difference that you notice obviously is that extra polish that they've implemented here on the on the G1 comes in the upper mids and treble, where it's definitely well more executed than it is on the BL03. Now, having said that, the BL03, as you guys know, once it is slightly modified like I've done, that thing becomes basically a tensor oxygen. I'm sorry, but it's got a driver which is almost identical. It belongs to the same series, and it plays well. The problem with the BL03 obviously is the fit. The shell has got that weird format which might not be to everyone. But so to kind of say that the G1 is a polished up or a modernized BL03, I don't think it's in any way a demerit for the G1, because it is that solid. Vivace, very much like the Bunny, tremendous sounding IM. I think it's a pity it didn't get a little bit more mention. The Neko, I'm not going to extend myself here too much. Great sounding, fun. It's got a phenomenal driver, the same driver as the TXS from before. Really nice sounding IM. I mean, $30 with this great build. I mean, you can't go wrong here, and that's why I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the DR02 precisely for that feel that you got from the DX1. Those of you that enjoyed the DX1 for its neutrality, for its cleanliness, for its very, let's say, exemplary way of doing a clean tuning for a single ED. You know, the D02 here gives us vibes of the DX01. Obviously not on the same level, but it's a solid IM which deserves, honestly deserves attention to have been paid to it. Anyway, again, let me just clear things up here so we can jump into the next price point, and then, like I said, at the end I'll go and fetch again all the IMs which I think were the standout in this whole mega group here that I got. Okay, let's continue now, and I guess I'm just gonna go for all the IMs now above that $45-50 price point, and just take them all the way through to $100, so that I don't do any more subdivisions, although I guess I could have done another subdivision here easily. But anyway, before I continue, I want to first of all apologize because I forgot another IEM in the previous group, which is a Soratune, the BL02. This is definitely an IM that I was impressed with, and I was impressed because it shares a tuning style that we got a few IMs towards the end of the year that kind of had this tuning style, which is the Rose Techniques, the Quiet C2, the Pula Unichrome, the Intuara, the Impact, the KB Ear Tourbillon Pro. The Soratune has that style of sound. It has that particular tuning style, and it does it very well. And I would even go as far as saying that, for example, compared to the Quiet C2, it does a better job than the Quiet C2, and that's why it will stand out as one of my more favorite ones within this group of all IMs that stood out. I mean, I've got to easily have about 40 IMs, so definitely the Soratune is one of those IMs, a really top sounding IM. So let me just get that out of the way. Now, as for the rest, what do I have here? Well, I don't even know where to start, but anyway, I'm going to start here with the Q5 Pro, which was the updated version of the Q5, of the Q5, yes, exactly, from EPZ. And I have it here because the Q5, the original Q5, was really something that I really thought was a standout IM in 2024. A solid sounding IM, something that stood along the lines of the TRN, the Conch, something that easily I wouldn't have any problems with comparing with the likes of the Tensstrom Oxygen, for example. And the Q5 Pro, followed up on that formula. They changed a little bit the shell. The tuning wasn't that much of a change. What I can say is that for the $50 that it costs, it is a really good sounding IM, but although it does have and it does suffer from the problem that these IMs at this price point all suffer, which is that the competition is so fierce. I mean, I got here the Moondrop, the Line 2 Pop Edition, which is priced at basically the same amount of money, and it's tough. It's tough because these IMs, they are all so good. I mean, I've got here the Venture Electronics, the Guangxi. I mean, this with the Vita cable, which I was forgetting the name the other day. This costs as well the same thing. If you ask me, hey, so Tony, which one would you choose? I would go for the Guangxi. Simple. It's the one that embodies this style here of sound the best. It is incredible sounding, the Venture Electronics. This is definitely one of the best sounding IEMs of the year, in my opinion. Honestly, at this price point, under $100, without any question and without any, I'm not yet shilling or anything else. It is one of the best sounding IEMs that was released this past year of 2025. So, I mean, I guess that says it all. But anyway, Q5 Pro, phenomenal IEM. The Moondrop LAN 2 Pro with this implementation of the glass diaphragm driver, a nicer implementation, if I have to be honest, than the Civga Q UTG, which is the one that I've got here. A better implementation. This also has that glass style diaphragm driver, but to get the best of the UTG, to be honest with you guys, you have to use the foam tips, in my opinion, and you have to put a little bit of a filter on it. I actually am using a 300 grade filter, and with the 300 grade filter, the balance that's then struck between the high end and the lower end is better. It then, because the issue with the UTG is not really at lower volumes, or even I would say mid volumes. It's at higher volumes where that glass diaphragm really starts becoming intense, and so that filter there does do the magic, and obviously the foam tips did already help significantly. So the UTG definitely I was impressed with it. I'm not going to deny it. That's why it's here. That's why it was a favorite of mine when it came out, and it's a favorite of mine. It was included in this mega group. But if I have to choose an IM from Civga which ticked more right boxes, that one will be the original Q. The original Q with its Beryllium driver. I mean, phenomenal. Really nice. So let's get these two out of the way. Yes, we've got a little bit more space. So we've got the Civgas out of the way. The Venture Electronics as well. Let's get that out of the way. This out of the way. This out of the way. And bring in a few more. Okay, we bring in that. We bring in that. We bring in this one. We bring in this. We bring in this one as well. One might as well bring the other rows as well. Okay, so next group here, MK10 from Hydeas, the Arc Sonic. Incredible IM. Wow. Seriously, wow. The tips, the exchangeable nozzle tips do work. They do change the profile. I preferred using them, or I preferred using it with the tip. Let me see if I can recall now. Which one was it? Actually, maybe if I grab here the box, let's see if I can distinguish between them. Oh my god, I don't really recall now, and I'm keeping you guys waiting. Anyway, I'll do this in the description. I'll then put the tip that I liked, although I have to be honest with you, although I did like it with that particular tip. Okay, and let me see here. I've actually got two pieces. Yeah, exactly. Let me see. I'm really trying to see if no, but it's the rubber inside. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Although I did like it with its stock tip, which is the case here of this particular MK10, I've got a second one here, which I did a slight little mod, which was again at a 300 grade filter. And if you guys know, a 300 grade filter doesn't really change radically, and all it did was just tame ever so slightly that 5-6 kilohertz area. And with that 300 grade filter, that what was already a phenomenal sounding IEM, incredible bass. The quality of the driver of the MK10 is really something else. It just took it to a different level. So top marks there. The Tin Hi-Fi, the T2 Mark III, is here because it has got, again, they did enough, in my opinion, to justify it. But and I think the biggest difference between this and the original T2 is that they didn't really touch much the bass, but they just cleaned up the higher end in the right amount for it to be on the level of something like the HE Sound Hard Mirror. And it somehow made the bass just sound fuller. I don't know what kind of voodoo they use there, but that's the reality. So the MK3 impressed me because of that. I will say, however, that I did get 3 MK3s. I'm not going to deny. Two of them, they really had some bad channel differences, really bad. So I am gonna say that the tin hi-fi, go with caution. Let's put it that way. If you like the T2, the T2 Mark III definitely is a solid option, a solid upgrade if you want to put it that way. But be careful with the quality, because like I said, out of three sets, I was able to ultimately get two proper sets. But this one, yeah, was the best of the three. And out of the other two, I had one had the left channel, which was a mess. The other one had the right channel, which was a mess. And then I was able to make a second set, which was fine, perfect, didn't have any issues, and I didn't even touch it. The other two pieces were left over. I just actually opened them up just to have a look how it was done inside and everything. But Mark III, that. The other one here, which again I think is an IM that went very much under the radar, is the Ibaso, the Klee Junior, or Junior Klee, whichever way you want to call it. Incredible IM, and I think it just didn't get the deserved attention that it should have gotten. Initially, its price was around $75-$80. It's now available at under $50, and at under $50, if in its original price it was already a solid contender, at under $50, this is a no-brainer. And if you do add a little extra filtering to it, you are going to be blown away by how good this is. It becomes a sub $200 contender easily, because the driver they have in here, the driver that's inside of the Klee, this magnesium driver, it's next level, honestly. So very solid. Quiet C2, I already talked about it, so I don't really need to go into too much depth. On this corner here, I've got the Tangzhou, and I don't want to use one C. I hope I'm not 10mm topology driver, open back design, the best single DD from Tangzhou, bar the original single DD that they had, in my opinion. But I'm not going to mention that. Out of the single DDs that I've made so far, this is definitely the best. Beautiful build quality, and it's got a sound which stands out again for being different. It's kind of almost diffuse. Really impressive IM. Truly impressive. Solid. Very solid. Next to that, I've got here the Ruma Audio Vento Conductor, the Ran, or Ren, I don't know how you say it properly. Again, an IM which has a very different tuning style. I would say that this is a different tuning style, this is a different tuning style, this is a different tuning style. These three are a little bit more similar, especially these two. But again, an IM with a different tuning style, incredible musicality. I think that's the thing that stands out. And an IM that, again, it's a pity because it just didn't get enough traction. I would have liked, first of all, for the Ruma Audio to be a little bit more flexible in wanting to have their products talked about, which is a pity. They are a little bit inflexible, at least with me they are. I mean, I wasn't asking for free samples or anything of the sort, but a little bit of a helping hand would be nice. But otherwise, where it matters, which is how good it is musically, and for those of you that maybe live in a place of the world it's going to be easier to get it, which is in this case Japan, definitely a solid IM worth considering. Again, out of these, there are ones which are going to be coming back in a couple of minutes when I finish this up. So let me get these ones out of the way here now. Apologies. Okay. Alright, this over here. This, we can put these ones on this side. This one as well. Okay. Next batch, let's get here. This, let's get here. This, let's get this as well. Okay, let's get, got that one. Let's get this here as well. Okay, let's put it over there so it's easier, like so. And let's get this front batch here, and that will be all of them, I guess. Yeah, let's just wrap this up now and jump into the end, because that's what we want to hear, is what are then the IMs which I kind of put at the top. There's one more here that I don't have space, but anyway, I'll you guys will see it in a second. Yucotec RE1 Pro, a really nice sounding IM. Again, a Korean brand which I struggle to sometimes get hold of their products, but something which is definitely worthwhile considering. Um, the fit is a bullet style, which might be an issue, but otherwise sonically, CNT driver, it's really nice. I mean, really nice. From NF Acoustic, I've got two IEMs here. I've got their gaming IEM, the RG15, and I've got the N820. The RG around 75, 80, this around 119. So this is one of those IEMs that has gone past that $100 price point, and I apologize for that, but this can be, I've seen this come down a little bit to closer to $100. NF Acoustic type of sound, really, I mean, the driver that they use is a very high quality driver, and it's you can hear it. But I mean, you look at the graph and you think, it's going to be too overly emphasized in the bass. No, forget it. Phenomenal bass, incredible vocals. The musicality of the N820 is just next level. And the RG15 has got a lot of the same traits with a little bit less bass, which I think ultimately might be an interesting proposition if you are afraid that this might be a little bit too much. And then it's got that nice, I mean, it's got a really nice look to it, that kind of Assassin's Creed kind of vibe going for it with the metal shell. Nice, really nice. I mean, you have the RG and you have the RA15, which is basically the same shell with the exchangeable nozzles. And I have to be honest with you, the RG, the gaming, is the better one. Okay, so that. Then I've got here two from Tanstrom which impressed me. The Fission, and the Fission's got the exchangeable nozzles. It's got the tunable switch as well, like we had in the 4U. Again, this is a little bit over $100, 119. Solid, definitely, without a doubt, it's solid. It plays well accessorized, but I just feel that when I have to compare this to the Nora has done more. DMT5 driver, it just ticks more right boxes for me. This for me is got very much that vibe of the Origin, which you guys know that I'm a big fan. So if you want that kind of a vibe of the sound of the Origin but you can't afford it, this will be kind of the middle point between the Bunny, Nora, Origin. Will be that kind of progression in my opinion. So solid. Then another one which has that tuning style, like I mentioned earlier, of the Venture Electronics and of the Pula Unichrome, which is the KB or the Tourbillon Pro, the TB Pro. I mean, what can I say? You've got to listen to this thing. You can get this thing at $55. You can't go wrong. Honestly, you can't go wrong. Another one which I was really impressed with, and it's the only one I have here from Ear Acoustics, is the SPA Pro graphene driver, 11mm. What can I say? It is an IM which carries the Ear Acoustic house sound. It's tuned with that big bass in mind and so on, but it just does it very well. It sounds really good. It's got a very organic, very musical type of presentation, and I think it's done enough to deserve its place here. Next to that, the Into Out of the Impact, I don't think I need to delve too much into what I think about the Impact. The Impact, much like the Balance, or two IMs which they deserve to be in this group. The Impact maybe a little bit laid back in the vocals as compared to the Balance, obviously, but that again is more down to the bass that it has. Maybe a little bit laid back in that part of the spectrum, but nothing which is offensive. It's done more than enough, in my opinion, to be here. Next to that, Tipsy M1, again an IM which has surprised me quite a bit, because I mean, Tipsy is a brand that you either like the IMs or you don't like, and the M1 really surprised me. bass is really good. The vocals, I think musicality once again is a thing that really stands out here, and that's one common denominator in a lot of the IMs here. Puller Unicron, I don't think I need to delve too much into it. Probably the one of the most solid IMs from Puller, to be honest. The simplicity here has worked. It plays incredibly well. Okay, and then finally I had to obviously not forget here the KZ Zenith, especially because I had already mentioned it. The most expensive single ED that they've made up to date. Beautifully, I mean, the shell is top notch. This is an IM for $50 odd. Incredible sounding IM. I mean, this is a phenomenal implementation of the super linear driver. And again, let's not forget one thing: the super linear driver is a relatively, well, not relatively, it is a cheap driver. It is not a driver with all the whistles and bells and whistles of fancy diaphragms. No, it's a simple, well-built driver that has the right technical details implemented in it. So that, you know, the dual magnetic field, the dual chamber, built properly. It's got that large voice coil, which is a differentiating factor, and that just provides the ability for a very linear type of performance and just sounding incredibly well. And then coupled to the internal electronic crossovers that they've been using now lately, there is very little that you can fault. If there is anything that you want to point as a fault, is okay, it's $60. At $60, I've got so many other options. What are you know, what to choose? Trust me, if this didn't say KZ, if this said something else, that wouldn't be an obstacle. That's all I'm going to say, okay? So there you have it. Now, let me clear everything and put the ones here which I think are the standout for me out of this whole massive group of IMs. Okay, so I've tried to put here the ones that were kind of the ones that stood out a little bit more. You know, it's hard for me to kind of place them now, and this one is first, or that one is second, or you know, these, all of them, the reality is this, and I'm gonna try and be as fair as possible. They all impressed me. Okay, if and I'll just run them by you once again. So Chupo and Vivace, Tenshin Bunny. Over here I've got the NA20 from NF and I've got the KB Ear, the TB Pro, the Trubellion Pro. Here I've got the Tipsy, the M1, and the Intuara, the Impact. I've got here the Puller, and I've got here the Tension Nora. I've got here the MK10, the Arcsonic. I've got here the nice HK, the Tears. I've got the G1 from 7Hz. I've got the Saga. I've got the TK02, the Vento Conductor, the Run, the Venture Electronics UA Guangxi, the Ibaso Kli, the Sivga Q, the Soratun, the KZ, the Zenith, and then as a special mention, I'm gonna give the special mention to the Tin Hi-Fi. And trust me, this was not an easy one to do, because the difference between something like this and something like the, you know, the Moondrop, the Land 2, the Pop Edition, or the EPZ, the Q5, or it's just that this has got a lot of that iconic old school vibe that the T2 has, and it just brought back a lot of great memories, and I think that was one of the reasons why it kind of stood out. You know, to say that this, or for example something like the Tangzhou, the Xuanxi, my apologies, which is the better, probably the Tangzhou will be the safer choice, because the consistency of Tangzhou products has always been something of you know, of merit. You know, but out of these IEMs here, and those ones that really have this kind of really differentiating type of sound, the Deny Fire has done enough. Now, if I have to kind of make a little bit of a selection here and kind of somehow place them, the 7 hertz, the G1 will probably be at the lower end of the spectrum of where I place them, followed by probably something like the the Saga and the TK02. They kind of very much come close. I would say those three actually, the G1, the Saga, the Balanced, and the TK01, to say that they all kind of come very close in their overall performance is not an offense to any one of them. The Vivace probably being the one that edges out those others just ever so slightly. Above the Vivace, I would say the Bunny is definitely going to be there. Then something like the Civga Q will probably fill in the next spot. After that, I guess the Tears will probably be the one that comes or that follows up, and especially because of that DSP. But guys, trust me, there aren't these IMs that I've just mentioned, they aren't huge crazy differences in sound. They aren't, okay, trust me. The Tipsy, the M1 will probably be the next one in this evolution, or this kind of trying to position the IM somehow, which kind of starts narrowing things down here more, to these IMs here. I guess probably the next one to go out of this equation is the Soratune, the BL02, because it has a tuning, like I said, which is similar to some of the other IEMs here. So this one will probably be the next one to be excluded, leaving us now here with the more top contenders. And like I said earlier, I mean, any one of these IEMs is, top sounding IEMs. They really impressed me. The NF Acous, without a question, one of the most incredible sounding IEMs from NF Acous, or formerly known as NF Acoustics. Really great sounding IEM. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. They've got this very solid background from public address and from monitoring and so on and so forth. But the musicality of the NA20 is just surreal. What I say about the NA Acous, I say as well about the Vento Conductor, although the Vento Conductor, of course, has got less bass, and so it's a cleaner sound for some, and again, it's not even fair to say it's cleaner, it's just got less bass. But I guess out of this style of tuning, these two were the ones that impressed me the most. The Nora, I guess you could also include it slightly into that group. It's got that sound which is also again very musical. The musicality component of the Nora, of the Vento Conductor, the Ran, and of the NA20 is very similar. There's not a lot of differences there. That then leaves us here with the TB, the Into Outer, the Impact, the Pooler. Let me just take the Tashum a little bit here. Leaves us with the Pooler, leaves us with the UA Guangxi, the Klee, the Ibaso Klee, and the MK10 and the Zenith. And out of this group here, I would say the Zenith probably is the one that will fall out first. And my top ones will basically be these ones here. So I'm talking Ibaso Klee, incredible IM. Venture Electronics UA Guangxi, I mean, incredible. Go check out my review in more detail. Into Outer Impact, Pooler Unichrome, MK10 from High-Dis, the Arcsonic, and the KB Ear Tourbillon Pro. These here are probably the top ones, but trust me when I say that the difference between these and then the NA20, the Venture Electronics, the Nora, it's very, very minimal, very, very minimal. And lastly, as I mentioned, the special mention here to the T2 MK3. Anyway, guys, I hope I was able to. I'm not going to bother you with the graphs because I don't think it's necessary. I hope I was able to shed some light here on this group of IEMs, of single DDs under $100, which I think did enough to justify themselves as my top ones out of 2025, with this final selection here being probably the ones that I kind of went more times to. But as I said, and I repeated countless times in the review, you know, Sorotune, incredible. You can't go wrong with it. If you like this type of sound that you get here, for example, the KB ear, or you get on the pool, or you get on the Venture Electronics, the Sorotune is a solid option for that style of sound of tuning. You know, the TK02, like I mentioned earlier, one of really surprising. The nice HK tiers, that DSP cable that it's got with it. Wow, wow, seriously. And that's it, guys. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. You take care now. Bye bye.